visit the family. Words are made of letter people. A, B, C, D, follow me.
The Letter People. Today, the Hall of Fame. A review of Consonants and the Squoosh.
The detective here, super sleuth, seeker of truth, and part-time night watchman here at the Letter People Hall of Fame. Yes, the Letter People Hall of Fame. A place dedicated to the memory of great and sometimes silly events that have taken place right here in Letter People land. At first I took this job because I work alone. That gives me the chance to practice wearing all the clever disguises I need for my detective work. But I soon found out that the Letter People Hall of Fame is chock full of great stories. Well, let's see. Better make sure everything's okay in the letterboy display area. Yes, it looks like everything is quiet. All these displays sure do bring back some terrific memories. Stories of courage. Stories of good times. Stories of big teeth. Say, look at the size of that tooth. I wonder who's... I know. That must be one of Mr. T's baby teeth. I'll bet the tooth fairy gave him $10 for it at least. And what do you know? Capital and lowercase t. Both make the same sound that starts tall teeth. Reminds me of the time Mr. T got himself out of a tight jam with terrible tough Tony. All he had to do was tell some tall tales about his tall teeth.
Oh, then there was the time in Tuscaloosa when I tackled a 2-ton tarantula with my tall teeth.
Mr. T not only knows how to handle a bully, he's also Letter People Land's favorite country western crooner. Even though his horse looks like he could use a good meal.
Tall, my teeth are so tall, terrifically tall, the tallest of all, the tallest you'll see. I'm called Mr. T.
Yes, sir, Mr. T is a terrific singer. What a great sound. I wouldn't want to pay for his toothpaste, though. What was that? Well, that is not a great sound. That's what I call noise. Of course, it's Mr. N's display. Mr. N's nose is so noisy that when he first arrived in Letter People Land, some people thought he was a small ocean liner. It's said that when Mr. N's nose whistles, factories break for lunch. What's this say here? It's a song. It's called Capital N and Lowercase n Make the Same Sound That Starts Noisy Nose, a concerto for violin and nose, written by Ms. E. Mr. N's nose, like Mr. T's tall teeth, has sure been a help during some scary moments in Letter People Land. I remember the case of the Nasty. Mr. N's nose was my right-hand man.
Necktie.
Necktie. Noisy nose. Necktie, noisy nose. Yes! Necktie starts with the same sound that starts noisy nose.
Aha, yes.
Mr. N, with the help of his noisy nose, knew what words would scare the Nasty into being nice. I'm sure glad Mr. N was there to help me on that case, but I have to admit, when it comes to sounds, I'd rather listen to some good old country music any day. Like the style Mr. P sings when he's riding the range in his chuck wagon.
From Paducah down to Natchez, people praise my pointy patches, pointing out each patch that matches patched up me, Mr. P.
Well, Well, someday, maybe Mr. T and Mr. P will do a smash hit album of all my favorites.
One that starts pointing.
Well, at least Mr. P and Mr. T did get together to overpower the purple peekaboo palooka.
Well, for starters, how about this jar of peanuts?
What do you think we are? A couple of dummies? Peanuts doesn't start with the same sound that starts pointy patches.
Hold on there, Pug-Nose. We better sound it out. Peanuts, do pointy patches. Peanuts, pointy patches. Yes, peanuts start with the same sound that starts pointy patches.
Well, Mr. P's got a swell display. A purple pointy patch with a capital and lowercase p on it. Very smart. Very large, too. I guess it would take a pretty big sewing machine to sew that patch on your pajamas. Whew, that was a close call. If I was only like Mr. S, I could have flown away from that thing. It almost had me in stitches. Now here's something. A half a pair of socks. And a capital and lowercase s. Unless I miss my guess, I'd say they both make the same sound that starts super socks. Not only can that super guy, Mr. S, sing and fly at the same time, but he knows a lot about clean living.
Maybe I put it next to the soap.
Could be because soap starts with the same sound that starts super socks. Soap, super socks.
It can stop your sputtering, Mr. S. I found it next to the sock thump.
I am a supersonic streak in the sky. Mr. S to the rescue, they cry.
Mr. S is not only a super flyer, super singer. He also is the only kid in his class to wear a mask and a cape to his school's open house. Well, that looks like Mr. V's display. Let's check it out, just to be sure. Yes, there's a capital B and a lowercase v. Both make the same sound that starts Violet Velvet Vest. And speaking of Violet Velvet Vests, there's one now. What an amazing coincidence. And how about that? A bow and arrow? No. A violin. Mr. V, like the other letter boys, is a lover of music.
Violin starts with the same sound that starts Violet Velvet Vest. I can still play it, though.
You sure can. That was beautiful, Mr. V.
Quite a singer, too.
I am Mr. V with a very special vest. And my very special vest is my very best.
I guess no one could ever forget the time Mr. V's very favorite violet velvet vest got torn. Mr. V was so proud of his reputation as a snappy dresser that he decided that he would never stand at the end of a word where people could see the tear in his vest. He decided to stand only where the letter person standing next to him would help him hide the tear in his very favorite violet velvet vest. And if it weren't for the word vest, this display might not be here at all. And there it is, the Hall of Fame's newest display, the Golden Squoosh Box. Says here it's a brand new kind of clue box. It's used at the beginning or at the end of a word when two of the letter boys blend their sounds together. The idea for the Squoosh began one day when the letter people and Monty Swell were rehearsing for the Catching Game TV show.
Oh.
They were trying to put the word vest in clue boxes, and things weren't going well at all. Mr. S and Mr. T were arguing over who should stand in the ending clue box.
Holes in your teeth. I clearly hear my super sock sound.
Yeah, and you've got starch in your socks. I hear my tall teeth sound.
Super socks.
Tall teeth.
Super socks.
Oh, listen, stop squabbling. Listen, since I'm the star of this show, I'll decide who goes in the ending clue box. Let's see, vest. Of course, I hear two sounds.
First Mr. S, and then Mr. T. But they're very close together. So, Mr. S, you get back in the ending clue box, and Mr. T, you stand next to Mr. S outside the clue box. That'll work.
Monty, that won't work.
I can't make my sound unless I'm standing in a clue box. That's right. Well, we'll just have to put you in the clue box, won't we then, Mr. T? Now, how we do that?
Look, Monty, it's really simple if you think about it. Since Mr. S and Mr. T must say their sounds close together, why not have them both get in the ending clue box?
I believe she's right, Monty. Mr. S and Mr. T are making their sounds blend together. Listen again. Best.
Well, as they say in the business, the show must go on. Mr. T, get on in the ending clue box with Mr. S.
This clue box isn't big enough for the two of us.
Oh, sure it is. Be a tight squeeze, but it'll have to do. Go on, Mr. T. Get on in there.
Oh, watch it. Hey, what you doing?
Oh, isn't that cozy? Try it, letter people.
Best.
I hear it. Do it again.
Best.
Oh, it works. Well, I knew it would. I mean, of course, I thought of it.
You're squishing my socks, Mr. T.
Yeah, and you're squishing my tall teeth.
I need air. I feel squished. Squish, squish, squish.
Squish?
Yeah, squish.
Squoosh. What an excellent name.
Oh, do you think so, Miss E?
Whenever two or more letter boys have to be in the clue box together.
Because they must say their sounds very close together, make them blend.
Yes, squoosh their sounds together. Why don't we call the clue box a squoosh box? Right now, Mr. S and Mr. T are in the ending squoosh box.
A very, very, very good idea, Ms. E.
Pans. Pans. P-A-N.
Squoosh box. Ending squoosh box.
Pans. P-A-N-S. Pans. Fans. F-A-N-S. Fans.
Then Mr. S, Mr. T, Ms. O, and Mr. P stepped into the clue boxes to make the word stop. In the word stop, Mr. S and Mr. T are blending their sounds together at the start of the word. And there it is, a starting squish box.
All right, we're ready. Try it, letter people.
Stop! Don't stop now. We always do it twice. Stop!
Squish box, you're good. You're very good. And we're very glad you're here. Yes, the Letter People Hall of Fame. It sure brings on some golden blasts from the past. There are 119 stories to be told in Letter People Land. Who knows? Maybe more. Someday, these empty displays will be filled with more stories. In the Letter People Hall of Fame.
Come and meet the letter people. Come and visit the family. Words are made of letter people. A, B, C, D, follow me.